Please, and then you can take it
Start.
away.
Hi,
Okay.
everyone. Welcome to the painting class. I hope you have fun today. I know Virginia's a painter and she's on here. I don't know if anyone else has any experience, but I'm going to just start at the basics and if you know it, great, and you'll hear it again. And if you don't know, then it kind of gives you an idea of how to um, see something and how to break it down so that you can paint it. So um, we'll get started. I want to show you, this is the painting that we're going to do today. It's an iceberg, and it's a great painting to start with because it kind of shows the value of the painting, the light to darks, and there's no right or wrong. Ice is many forms, and so you'll have success with this. I started with a drawing. I don't know, can you see that? This is my drawing, and I just I just drew this from looking at icebergs and seeing how they were constructed, and there's more underneath the water than there is on top, and there's always a light source. So for me, the light source is going to be on the right hand side, and it's going to be warm light. And um, as in nature, you're going to see the sky is darker and it becomes lighter towards the horizon line. And the same from underneath the water. The water is dark, and as you get to the surface, it becomes light. And that gives distance to your painting. So we're going to work on those kinds of things. Also, I want to go over some elements of design. So we'll get started with this. So uh, I don't know if you can see this well enough. Can anybody
Yeah, it
answer
looks
or
pretty
no?
clear.
Is it clear? Okay.
Yes.
So
Great.
you want kind of a soft pencil on your canvas or your canvas board. And we're going to start by separating this into 4 squares. This is an 11 by 14. So this is 7 inches to our center. And we're going to split that, and we're going to make a grid so that we can look at a drawing, make a grid, and transfer it to our panel. So you can see, you can kind of measure this far down is where that line starts right there. So if you want to do that on your grid, I don't know who's painting along, but so now we have this mark. We have our center line. Oh, because I don't know if I gave you time, but I want you to divide this panel equally here and equally here. So this is 7 inches and this is 11. So that's going to be 5.5 right there. So now you have a center mark, and you have a center mark. And I have a center mark on my drawing, and you come down, and we're going to just try to, with our eye, follow these shapes.
Sarah, can you bring it in just a little closer for us to see?
Yeah. Let me see what I can do here. Now, how's that? Is
That's
that
better.
any better? Is it better?
So
About
can I ask a question? So it's 7 inches to the top of the iceberg, down from the top of the canvas, right? 7 inches
7
to,
inches to your center mark.
okay.
This is, because this is 14 right here. And so this is 7 right here. And then from my drawing, which, is what I'm following, I just marked it with my fingers and said, there is that mark right there. So if we have a center,
How far up is it to the tip of the iceberg at the top?
I just measured it with my pencil. Let's see what that is. That's about 3¼ inches
Okay.
down to this mark. But ice is so, it changes all the time. And so if it isn't exactly this way, it's okay. And Virginia, I know you've seen a lot of ice. So I haven't. I haven't ever seen an iceberg like this, so I'm really looking forward to it. But I have studied a lot of pictures and looked at how it's constructed. So if this is our center mark and this is our dividing line right here, we're just going to go in and make some breaks. This is center. And that is going to be like the snow, a little snow cap where the water hits. So that line will be darker. And that we'll get to that in our values. Are you with me? Is everybody with me?
I'm trying.
Okay,
I'm following your pencil marks.
there you go. So I just made a little cap on top, like a point, like you think of an iceberg, but sometimes they're round, but I'm making my lines quite dark. How's that if I hold that up? Does that help?
Yes, that helps.
Okay. Hang on, I'm going to make a quick adjustment. There. Is that better?
Mhm.
All right, so that's the top of our iceberg. And that's the part that is out of the water. Ruth Ang. Are you Ruth Ann or
Ruth
Ruth Ang? Are
Yeah.
you a painter?
No, I'm not.
Oh, you're not. Well,
Yeah.
you might like it.
Yeah, I'm just watching the session first. Then maybe I'll
Okay.
go back and try again myself after that.
So this is the iceberg I'm painting, and this is the top of the iceberg that is out of the water, and then all this is underneath. So I just made it have more girth, and this is our center line, but since we want to not have it exact center, our water line is here, and it's going to be quite dark. So now I'm going to go and draw what's underneath. So when I see icebergs and I see the lines, the cracks and the crevices, it's what kind of brings it all together, and and they form together. They're frozen together, and they're not smooth. So that's what I tried to show here. There. Can everyone see that?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you look at the drawing that I did and you look at it in 4 areas and then compare, that's how you transfer something using a grid. Is that clear? Did I say that well enough?
I think so. So we're
Okay,
looking at order separately and making sure we.
right. So yeah, if you see something like when I plein air paint, sometimes I take little rectangles and find my painting, and and it helps you to not go off into some direction. It helps you to focalize your vision right there, and keep this in proportion with these grids. And if you make a small design with the grid, you can go as large as you want. You can do a whole wall. That's how Weiland does his whaling walls. I'm sure he works within a grid, and so when he goes to a large scale, he doesn't have to think of the whole thing. He only has to think of that in a compartmentalized way. Like, this section is this, this is this, this is this. You stand back and it all goes together. So another reason that we're doing ice today is because it's so forgiving. It doesn't look like anything but what's in your imagination. So here we have our drawing done, and we're going to have our light come in from this direction, and this is going to be dark, and we're going this way to light, because this is going to be your horizon line. And then this is the depth of the ocean up to the light, and so it will get lighter as we go up. So when you're ready, I guess we'll start to paint.
Mary, I have a question.
Uh-huh.
The answer. I haven't done this in a while of acrylic paints, but when we have these pencil marks on the canvas, does the paint cover them over without a problem, or do
It
we?
will. It
Will.
will. And we're going to block in our darkest values, and we're going to hit that pencil line in a lot of places. I normally wouldn't make my lines as dark as I did, so it's really not an issue, because they can come back to haunt you, lines, but I don't think that'll be any issue here. Because for one thing, we're using opaque colors that, and opaque means no translucity. So opaque would cover this up. We're going to mix this with 2 transparents and an opaque, and the white is the opaque, and that should take care of that. So before we get started painting, I wanted to talk a little bit about composition. And many photographers, you already know this because you use that continually in your photographs. But if you're not a photographer, there are some rules of composition, and it helps you to think it through and make a better painting, like movement, color, balance. So the elements of design, the first one is line and line and shape. And we'll just say shapes. These are all going to be shapes of ice that come together and create this iceberg. So your eye needs a place to rest. You have all this going on. Can you hear me?
Yeah, can.
Okay. There's a lot going on here, and our space to rest is as important as, you know, you don't want it to be confusing for the viewer. You want them to be transformed and brought right where you want them to go. So you do that by sometimes directional lines, like we have a light coming in here, and then we have these lines pointing up and down, and we're going to bring that light line right through here so that it is going to add interest to our painting. So the elements of design, I'll just give them to you quickly, are line, shape, space, value, which we're going to talk about next, texture and color. And cool colors recede and warm colors come forward. Large shapes should be in your background, and you should work forward with more shapes smaller and more detail. And that gives you that big sense of space. So you get your harmony in your painting by not getting too many colors, not getting too much chroma or paint. If you stick to a few colors and mix from there, your painting will hold together. So in the beginning, we're going to use a larger brush. We're going to block in. Then we're going to go to our medium brush for brush sizes for more of the detail work, more of the work on the iceberg. And then finally, we'll use our small brush to define detail and highlight whatever that we need. So if we're ready, I think we're ready to start painting. Is everybody ready? Are you with me to this point?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to go for it. I'm going to try to do the painting too, but you're going to walk us through the colors to put on our
Yes.
palette.
Yep. So we have the Liquitex Titanium White. Hey, Carly, will you put this back on my screen so I can see myself? Thank you. This Liquitex Titanium White, this is the opaque white, and it's like the workhorse of any painting. And we're going to start with the Thylacane Blue and the green. And that is pretty much this color right here. These, they're going to be warmer. They're going to be more forward. This is our ultramarine blue. We're going to use this today. And we're using this for the background, and it will recede. It's very cool. And we're going to go dark to light here. Can you see it? Thank you.
So the three colors, the two blues.
Right, right. And we're also, today we're going to be using the Payne's Gray, the violet, which we're going to lay into some of our shadows, and our cadmium yellow at the end. We'll mix that with some white, and we'll hit our highlights and our places that we want to show warmth. Ice is cold. This is a very cool painting because, you know, it doesn't have greens and reds, and you could do that. You can do anything you want, but we want to portray this as what ice looks like. So let's start with a good amount of titanium white on your palette.
So Mary, is it possible I can see your palette, how you're doing
Yep.
it? How
Let's
much?
see. Can I tilt that down? How about that? I don't know. If I do that, then all my colors will fall out. Oh, Carly's helping me here. She's going to fix that.
Thanks, Carly.
Got it? When I'm done with this, I'll try to pick it up and show it to you better. Okay, so I'm going to start with my titanium white and then my ultramarine blue. And this, are you there? Phthalo blue, we just call it for short. Phthalo blue, and I got a green shade, which has got a little more yellow in it. So let's just start with that right there, those three. We're going to take some of our Liquitex. This is an acrylic medium, and it's made for extension of the color and ease in application. Like it will help with the flow. So I use that.
You just put a squirt in it, just
How
like a.
was that? Yeah, and I just put a little on top. How about that?
Never
Can you
use
see
it.
that?
Yeah.
Okay.
On each
So
one.
I'm going to take a little water on my palette knife. I'm just going to mix that in. I'm mixing in that acrylic medium with the white, and we're getting ready to paint. Put a little more water in there. We don't want too much water because these are both a polyurethane, and it will make it chalky. That's another reason to use the medium. Okay, so now I'm going to mix this blue, and I got some white in there, and that's all right.
And which blue are you mixing with?
I'm going to mix them both. So this is the ultramarine right here. You can see it's a really pretty color. That's also a color I use often. And I'm going to go right into my phthalo, and I'm not going to clean that palette knife. Okay, all set?
I'm just curious, what's the difference? They look pretty close to in my eye. When
They're not, though.
you start painting, they look
This,
different.
yeah. This one is, this ultramarine is this top of this, you can't see that.
Oh, so it looks a little greener, the silo one.
Yes, it is, for sure. This is the ultramarine right there. And it also is very cool. And this phthalo has a lot of green in it, and it will come forward. But I use those two together with the white, and I like that for a background. So we're gonna mix that. We're gonna go over here and scoop up some white, put it alongside.
I alongside the phyllo, right?
Yep, because those are kind of mixed up already. And another thing about acrylic is when you lay it down, you think it's really like the perfect color. It's going to dry a little darker.
Okay, so make it a little lighter than your watch.
Well, this, and another thing about acrylic is it dries so fast you can go over it. If you don't like it, just paint over it. It doesn't hurt a bit. So I have some mixed up here, and I'm going to take my brush, your largest brush. I think I told you 1/2 inch. And on the top, we're going to go with mostly the phthalo. If you can see that, load your brush up, go up to the top of your canvas. Now I'm going to have to adjust this again.
And we're starting with just plain old phthalo by itself.
No, we're at ultramarine blue, and there is a bit of white in there, and some water. And load your brush up, go to the top of your canvas, and start to lay it down.
And again, that's the ultramarine.
Yes. So it takes kind of a soft touch. And these canvases are not, that great. So kind of pull it down. We're going to define our iceberg by our sky. Then in the middle, we're going to put our phthalo white mixture. We're going to run it right alongside.
You can use the same brush and just put the other color on it, no problem.
Yep. Because we're going to blend these two together. Because we want our dark, our medium, and our light to come into this.
So go around our lines we have for the ice.
Right. Yep. And you can run over them and cover up that pencil line too if you want. You can feel how this is drying already, and it's not, it's not like oil paint, that's for sure. It's harder to blend. But I'm getting a good color, I think, here, mixing these two. And I'm mixing them right on the palette. And we really don't care if it's like perfect. It doesn't have to be. It's the sky and it changes. So you kind of use a light touch and go over that. All right, then when we get to the bottom of our sky, we're going to start adding in the white. And not too much because it will make it more difficult if you get too much paint on there. but we definitely want a gradient. And you can see that iceberg coming forward.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
It doesn't look as green as yours. It might be just over zoom, but mine doesn't look as green as light. You know what I mean? It looks
Can you
more
show
blue.
yours on the computer?
For some reason, my damn, excuse me, video isn't working. I
Oh,
don't know why. I can't. I was struck. Yeah, I
did you
would love
use
to
the
be able to.
phthalo in the middle?
Yeah, I
The
did.
you did.
Yeah.
Well, I think it'll be all right. You know, you can just move on and then always go back
Yeah.
because we're going to repeat these colors and then it dries so fast that you can just go right there and add a little here and there. So what I'm going to do right now is I have been working with this white on the bottom and I'm going to make a directional line like a from the sky to show that this is the light side. Does that make sense?
And that's by adding white into the paint.
Yeah, yep. So I just went into where my color was. It's because I want to show uh, light. This is the light side.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Next, we will start blocking in our iceberg and I don't think we'll go to the bottom yet. But we can take some of that purple. That'll work. And you have any kind of red or purple. We're going to mix in with that ultramarine blue so that we get this. We're going to show the dark side and we're going to go underneath and make some of these lines, some of these shapes. So put a little water on your brush. And grab some of that violet and mix it in with your ultramarine blue. So that gives you a purple. Can you see that? Are you ready?
Not quite.
Okay.
I'm mixing the purple with the ultramarine blue, and it's
Yeah. And we're just going to get a more dense, a really cold looking,
purple.
darker blue. Yeah.
It should be purple, more purple than blue,
Well,
right?
it'll be blue or purple. It'll be dark is what it will be. And I'll show you right here. We're going to just go in and paint some of these shapes.
Ooh.
Can you see that? Yeah.
Are you still using that half-inch brush?
I am. I'm still using the big one because we're just blocking in some color here. And you don't have to follow your lines exactly, but it gives you an idea of where the light is going to be. And this side is going to be in shadow more.
Mary, if the brush feels really thick with paint, does that mean I need more
Then
liquid?
Just rub it on the side. Like, I don't know what kind of palette you're using, but I have this, and so I can just kind of scrape it
Yeah, I'm gonna scrape it.
and then grab some. Because if you have too much paint, and then you can't control it. It gets a mind of its own, and you're like moving around paint, but you're not getting anywhere. And I like this flat brush because you can make a thin line with it, or you can lay it flat and put in a heavier piece. So we have to think about if the light it would hit this, where would it go? So we'll just make some crevices. Like that goes in and the light isn't going to penetrate that or show. It won't be bouncing off. So we're going to have a light side and a dark side, and that's going to also be true in our individual shapes. It will go light to dark, so this side of this is going to be dark. And that's going to be a crevice, so when the light hits, it's going to hit this side. And I'm going to lay in that water line right there. Because where the iceberg hits the water, there will be a line, a visual line, and it will be darker. And it doesn't have to be the same all the way across. You can take any other color and kind of mix in to give it a depth and interest. So I'll go ahead and lay in the crevices in this. So it will help you define your painting also. When you start putting in the darks, you'll be able to see things taking shape. We'll say that, this is in front of this. You can use this flat and pull up and to make a feathered line. And I have about 3 colors on that brush, and you can see all the, I don't know if this will show in this light, maybe not. But as I pull this up, there is a variation in color. Okay, how's that? Should we keep going?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
following. That's
Okay. So now we'll go to the bottom, and we're starting to get a feeling of what is more dense and what is not in the light. So we can just repeat these colors and bring them down, and we'll do the same. We'll show the crevices with
which color?
dark to light. I'm just using that purple again. We're going to go over it again, but this is going to be our a value, just our dark shapes. So I'm going to use this kind of clean this brush out and hit that kind of hard on this side. All right. How's that? Good? It's not very good. How's that? Better? There. Virginia, are you still on?
Oh yeah, I'm patient, but
Okay.
it's not as good as yours, but it's dabbing
Well,
around.
it does, it doesn't, yeah, it's just like you're feeling it, and it's cold and it's dense. And so now we have our values laid out. So we're going to start adding more color and defining what's going on. So I think that it would be kind of fun to put in the bottom color here, and we're going to go dark to light, and we're going to be using our phthalo green, this one.
Phthalo green.
Yep. So lay that next to your phthalo blue, which is really this color here. This is the phthalo blue. And we're going to put a little Liquitex on there for the flow. Oh, and I forgot to tell you, if you want to use a paper towel to keep your hands clean or to clean your brush, we can wipe this brush, get a little water on there, and then it doesn't have to be all the way clean, but enough that, we can start with the fresh color. See how my pencil lines are gone almost?
On, yeah.
But
I
else I can go over that again and using those same colors and to try if I have a spot that I feel like the pencil line is sticking out. So now we're going to paint this. We're going to mix our phthalo blue, no, with our phthalo green. So let's get that green, put a little Liquitex, stir it up.
with our palette knife.
Yes. Look at my palette knife. You think that's been used a few times? Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. It's my favorite one. I have all these that I don't like. And when this thing breaks, I will be so sad. I've tried to find another one like it, and then there you can't. So this is a great color. It's phthalo blue and phthalo green. And if you mix it together, it's the tropics. It's that beautiful, clear, it's very translucent, and
The phthalo green and the
people
phthalo.
that love water will like this color. Yeah,
You
it's
put any
warm.
white in it?
Well,
You,
I'm going to, but in the beginning, I'm going to start with just this. I'm going to start with these two, about half and half, about half of each.
okay, got it. So,
And I'll show you on the palette what it looks like this. Can you see that? No, you can't.
not yet.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
It's kind of strong. It needs more blue, that one.
Yeah. So
But there it is right there. That's the color I'm looking for, that right there.
on the,
Oh, it looks so dark in this. I don't
did it
know.
be that dark?
Well, it's transparent. So you can it's transparent. So when it dries, it's something that looks really clear. Like if you wanted clear blue, you could use this for a glaze. But we're going to add white so that because that's way too strong for what's going on in our painting.
Oh,
We
Mary, do
wouldn't
it
want that.
exactly the way you're doing it. Put that dark right on there and go from there.
No, I just wanted to show you what the color was. Don't do it that way. You're going to mix it on your palette, and then you're going to add in some white because we're going to paint this color right here. I put that on there so you could see. And it's very warm. It's a very warm color. But this white will tone it right down. Now we'll take some water and some water into our color. Can you see that right there?
That's what I
I'm
have.
holding it up. Okay, that's what we're going to use. I'm going to just paint right over what I had. Yeah. And this again is going to be dark at the bottom and light as it goes up. And then we're going to show that light that comes across, and underneath our iceberg, it will also help define what we have going on here. The ice underneath. It will kind of make it glow, I hope. We'll see. That's the goal. And if you don't get it right the first time, then you let it dry and you just come back. And to let this dry takes like minutes. It's not very long. So see, this is now looks dense. It looks like darker water. Um, it's more dense. It's cold. Okay, so our middle we're going to add a little more green. And then we'll define that iceberg. Just want to mix it in a little bit. Then we'll go back into our white, and not too much white, and we'll lay that in the top of the water, and then we're going to pull it down. Okay, and then go real soft-handedly, and you can use the white on your brush. You can even turn it sideways a bit and pull that paint down so that you have a gradient.
Yours looks very blended, nice and smooth. Mine looks like a lot of lines in it.
Yeah, well, it's okay because I paint all the time, so that's why. But mine is way too green for me. So we're going to let that dry, and we'll go over it again. And if you have a lot of lines, when you go over it again, I mean, that's like lickety split that happens. So when it dries, you can go over it again, and it'll smooth out whatever. You know, you might even have a little different color. It'll be okay. It will just layer it. It'll make it interesting. Acrylics are kind of temperamental, I think.
You can drag
Like,
the darkness into it, yeah.
and I did it. I lifted my hand so that the brush is barely touching, and I brushed it. I brushed it so that it didn't pull. So now we're gonna start laying in our lines for our iceberg, and we're gonna start with the white at the top, and this is, you can use that point on your flat, and this is where the light will be. So we're gonna make some marks.
So we're just using plain white at this point.
Yep, white. Mine still has some other color mixed in, but I'm trying to get mostly pure white. And then we're gonna lay it in. And if it mixes in with some of that, that's okay. If it mixes in with what's underneath it. So you can see I laid that white, but you can see the darker value underneath it. Can you see that?
Yes, yeah, I can
And
see it.
that's what you want. Yeah. And white is opaque, but I'm doing this very light-handedly, and it's still, I want there to be a feeling of, well, this is reflecting, but underneath is a million years of building. Does that make sense?
So we're gonna see some of that dark bleed through.
Right. And if you were doing like a really a involved big painting, here's where you could lay in some texture and have maybe some areas sticking up, like a crevice, and then a heavy body of paint laying next to it that is built up a little bit from the surface, and that will reflect light differently, and that's always real interesting too. But that's not like till way down the road when you're thinking that way. This, we just want to get this on and show um, the values and give that feeling. We're looking for emotion of it's a beautiful thing. It's floating. It's on its own. It's been here for a long time. It's reflecting light like a prism. See this piece right here?
Yeah.
I'm going to make that recede. I have that white, but that doesn't look right to me. That should be a mid-tone, like a, a light tone, a dark tone. And so I'll go in with the next color and I'll hit that whole piece. It's kind of hard when you make things up because you have to imagine what that looks like. If you are there and you have that visual, then you say, well, there it is, and you can quickly paint it before the light changes, or you can photograph it and have that memory. But this, we're just making it up as we go along. So if we find that it doesn't work, we just repaint it like we do it differently. Or if you see something and you think it could be better, then just shout it out and we'll change it. But right now we're doing our highest values next to our darkest darks. And I think ice is sharp. I think of it that way. Like here, maybe not I don't know, but like it by the water, maybe it's not as sharp. So you can put in a line using the edge of your straight edge, kind of pushing down.
Are you pushing down on that dark purple line that you had,
Yes, so that it's jagged.
the one that was jagged, you're kind of going down on
Yeah,
that?
and kind of, well, and I'll probably go over it again, but for, I just laid that in so it's not like, it shows dimension. It shows maybe on the water, it's got a lot of spaces in it.
I'm messy.
There, how's that?
Oh, good.
Okay. Let's go and our underneath ice is going to be different than the ice above the surface because we're looking through all of the blue water to see it. So for now to make the next layer of this ice, let's go back to our green, our phthalo green, and mix with a little of our phthalo blue and some white. Some white. We'll see what we got. And that looks cold, doesn't it? Another reason to paint with a little bit bigger brush is that it keeps you from getting too detailed or too fixed on one area. Like if you have the idea in your head, like, well, that'll be okay, I can come back, and as long as I'm getting the shape in and the value that I want, then just keep moving. So let's add a little more green to that. It'll make it a little more translucent for this side. And I didn't clean my brush, so I have all those colors in there. I have the purple, the blue, the white. Carly's leaving. Bye. Thank you for your help. Everybody here says thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Carly.
Yeah. You're welcome. So if you turn your flat brush on its side, and now you're painting with those bristles, you can directionally control your line. And look at what happens when you paint that over that color that of purple that's already dry. That purple shines through and it shows how dense it is. Okay, so what we want is for one side to be lighter than the other. And I think that that is happening.
So Mary, you're basically getting rid of the dark purple. It's going under, right? It's kind of,
Yes, it's going under, but you can still see it.
yeah, but it's kind of like in the back.
So it's like you see the dark purple is under there, and there's an iceberg, there's light reflecting, and also you're looking through the water. So there's multiple layers of what's happening. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because that's what I'm seeing. It's like the
And
purple's
I
disappearing.
don't like this color. It's way too tropics. It's not. So we're going to paint over that again right now. And I think if we just go with that same color, add a little bit of the ultramarine blue because that's what's in our sky, and some white, we're going to get a much cooler color. So I'm just going to mix a little pile of that and start with the light and pull it down over the top. And I do like that better.
So what colors did you
I
use?
took a little ultramarine blue with the white and that aqua mixture of the blue green. And and now I'm just going to lay a thin line over the top to cool this off. And if you pull that brush lightly, um, if and don't have too much paint, don't you think that's a better color than that? It, and we can keep going. So if you aren't happy with what's going on, just go over it again.
So the right side you want much lighter, right? You want more white
Say,
on the right side.
yeah, well, it's kind of ended up that way. We're going to, we want more color on the bottom for sure. palette. My thing isn't on there. How's that? Better?
Yeah.
Are you there with me?
Yeah.
Okay, now let's say we're going to scrape our brush, keep the same one, and dry it with our paper towel. And then we're going to get a little water, but dry our brush again, clean that off. We're going to dip into our white. And my white's kind of got all different colors in there, but I don't care. And we're going to make that line go through and help define that iceberg under there. So let's take it on the side of our brush and then pull it right through. You can use your finger to smear it. I'm kind of sideways on this, so it will still show. And that is a leading line into our painting, because you always want a path. You always want a path, and the viewers will see it unconsciously. They won't even realize it, but the leading line is usually on the bottom left-hand side. Okay, now we're going to go back into our iceberg on the top, and then we'll just keep working this. And when we're done, we'll adjust whatever we want. So I'm going to clean my brush and maybe we'll add a little Payne's Gray into that. Do you have this Payne's Gray? Put just a little dab, because it doesn't take much. And we'll take our next brush, which is our medium, which I'm using this right here. It's a number 4. We'll take our Payne's Gray and a little of our Liquitex, put a couple drops on there. And mix it with our palette knife.
What is the Payne's Gray being mixed with?
I'd say that again.
What's the Payne's Gray being mixed with?
With the Liquitex.
Is that okay?
And then we're going to put a little white in there. And again, if other colors get in there, it's okay. So we don't want a lot of color. So I'm going to load my brush and then kind of scrape because I had some water in there. So it's too much water. So I have my brush. If you have too much water, you can just hit the ferrule where it comes together and absorb a little bit of that. So we're going to go in and define some lines. This will also be more of a medium color.
Mary, that paint at the bubbles is pretty much dry, right now? The top
Yeah,
of
at the
the
bottom. Sure. At the bottom, it probably is. You could probably,
we
yep,
go
it is.
at the top where you're painting now. Mine's dry up there, so
Yeah, it is. It's dry. So, and that's another reason we're using a smaller brush because we've got our definitions and we're going to start going smaller and smaller to bring it out. So we're pretty much done with the large brush and now we're going to go to a medium brush and do our medium painting and then we can always assess it and change it, but I think that if we just keep going, and we'll be using this one for a while, and then maybe go to our fine line at the end, but maybe not. Maybe to put in some horizontal lines for the water, we might use our fine brush. But we just want to loosely kind of start putting a layout for our iceberg. And you can use the darker Payne's Gray right on top of the color. It won't change the color, but it will change the value to darker. It looks more in shadow. So it can come in the bottom here. Because we don't want that value to be the same. This is shouldn't be our main focus. We don't want it as defined. We want it to be there, but not important. So you can change color anytime. I'm going to put a little white there to hit those highlights. And I don't have any water on my brush. I just added the white paint. And if you turn your brush, you can get like a cap. You must be thinking, painting class usually gets really quiet when people are getting involved.
Starting to look at all the colors and going, wait a minute, this isn't right. This doesn't
But
look like,
it can't, if you don't like it, just put white over it.
yeah, that's what I'm
Just
doing.
highlight and then go back. And like right now, I just went to my white. I was using my gray on that side, but I don't know. I just went white here.
I like you have to think about, you have to let your eyeballs adjust and say,
Right. And yeah, and think about how is that constructed? What's holding that together? And the bottom of this, we're going to have to really go back in, but the top of it, I'm starting to see it. Oh, I'm still working here. Somebody's knocking on my door. I don't want to answer it.
sounds like they got a horn at your door.
I know. I think they're having kind of a party and I don't want them to come in. So I kind of blended that purple underneath. I just brushed over it with the white. Real light of hand. A light touch. Okay, they're trying it again. Our entertainment for the session. We'll see. They can't get in. Shh. There. Okay.
So are you trying to like mute those hard purple
Yeah, I'm
lines?
trying to get a more harmonious feel, like now bring it all together. We can probably go back with the green overlay like I did in this one. That's a real ice green color. But I have the darker side, some crevices, and then the light hitting on this side. So I think I'm going to go back in with the blue green and the white with a little bit of that ultramarine blue. That's too blue. And that is more of a medium. It's better. But we only want it to be in little amount. So we can put some lines in, like that's just not a flat surface. And I know our time is about up, so we can do this however you want. Virginia, since you're painting.
Yeah, I think what I need to do is I need to get my video working and then show you what I have and then just get feedback because
Yeah, that would be great. You
similar
know
to
what?
yours.
Carly had to fix mine because it came right down to the wire and Michael said, "We're on." And I said, "Okay, I can't get in." So thank goodness came here just for that reason, because you know she's a kid. That's what she does.
Yeah, that was
So
great.
yeah. So I like what's happening there, and I'm going to hit it with a little highlight.
So you're adding a little of that blue in there.
Yeah, I'm adding a little of that cold ice blue on top of what we've already got. So we'll probably do that throughout these areas and then bring it down into the water. And I don't know if that water looks too dark. It might. See, I painted this one a couple days ago, and the water is quite light, and I don't know if I don't know which way.
Well,
I think maybe
in the Arctic, it is darker.
it
It's more
is
on the right.
more dense. Yeah, cold water is more dense. So,
The texture on your left, I like that.
yeah. Well, we
So,
can add that in as we put this, the bottom of this iceberg in. And then also I put some vertical lines in the
uh,
water to show the surface that you're here on the surface and you still see that. And
mhm.
then underneath the surface is where that iceberg is. So
So
like I said, I just made it all up. So, if you have any better ideas, be sure and let me know. And then we'll keep this color.
yeah,
So I think next time, let me show you. We can finish this up and then we can get started on. I have two different drawings that I can show you real quick. This is my sketchbook. That's I started this iceberg, and I thought we could either do this polar bear, um, this being water, the background could be just a simple sky, or we could put icebergs, or we could put anything we want. This one, or we could paint this puffin, and he's real colorful in his beak. And then we could do a patchwork background. I could teach how to do that. It's where you take your brush and you lay in this way, this way, this way, this way, and you can change the color around. So that might be kind of fun. So whichever one you want,
I like
let me know
I vote for
which way.
top.
The puffin, do this one. Yeah,
I
that
vote,
would be fun.
yeah, because we got
Um,
all those other colors. It would be nice to use them. See how they
Yeah, and I think I think he's like really orange beak, and um, yeah, we can do that patchwork background. Also, I think I don't know if we'll see any red in the sky. Sometimes red and yellow make an interesting background. For the iceberg, I wanted to keep it simple, simple.
yeah. I
Um, but
good.
this might be fun, and I will we'll do the same thing again. We'll take a line and we'll cut this in half vertically and horizontally, and then do the same on our canvas, our little canvas. Cut it in half.
Is it possible that you can send us like a picture in email
Of this,
of the sketches,
yes,
the iceberg that you did before and after? So say I want
yeah,
you to work on the one we did today to kind of
okay,
to look more like yours and play with it. But I want
yeah, sure.
to see your picture.
Well, yeah, I can have Ruth send the iceberg drawing.
Yep, that works.
Yeah,
Great.
yeah, this one. That's what you want?
Yeah, and then the finished one. So we can kind of look at what we've done.
Oh,
So
up until here, this one?
yeah,
Not this one, this one. Because
well,
this one we don't need anymore.
yeah, because
That I just did that as a quick little thing to see how is that going to go. But this is good. It's coming, and then I'll send this also,
yeah,
so that that you can be thinking about it.
yeah.
And since we won't have to go through so much, we'll get right on it, and we can paint that right out.
Well,
Well, thanks for joining me. And so thanks for giving me feedback all along, because otherwise this would have been really boring for me. So this was fun.
well, you need to see my kitchen right now, my table. I'm not as
Oh,
used
really?
to. I've got paint all over my fingers, the table. Yeah,
Oh, well,
but
that's
at
what
least,
happens. I didn't put on my paint shirt, and I can't believe I'm not covered. My clothes are clean. But
no,
yeah, so that
I just
okay. Thanks everyone for joining us.
have a good
And
evening.
I'll see you
Thanks,
next time.
Mary.
Yes, thank you, Ruth. Just let me know what date that you want,
Sure, I'll discuss
and
with
I'll be
Michael and get
sure.
back to you soon.
Yes,
I
sounds
will
great. Thanks
also
so much.
end the recording and I will upload it to YouTube.
Oh,
So
perfect.
anyone
And
who
do you
wants to
have any
watch can do that.
questions? Does anybody have any questions or
No.
no? Okay, but I'll see you next time.
All right. Thanks,
Okay,
Mary.
thanks so much, Mary.
Okay, bye.
Thanks everyone. Bye.